To whom do you vent? We all need someone to vent to. Friend, family member, obviously God. Venting is very important. We need to let off steam. We need to say things to other people to kind of get their thoughts, because no man is an island unto himself, right? So I need your thoughts to sharpen my thoughts. But there is a big difference between venting and calumniating, which is basically talking about other people, gossiping behind their back, sharing with people things that you shouldn't share. If I think specifically about the marital relationship, even your best friends, right? We tell people stuff and we want it to stay there. Now, God doesn't want us talking about people behind our backs, but God does say in His Bible, choose for yourself very few but wise counselors. So if you have a friend that you really believe acts like your counselor, perhaps it is good for that person. But see, you shouldn't have 2 or 3 or 4 people that you're telling a piece of information to, because then that's really not a counselor. You may not want to tell it to just one person. You may want to tell it to 2 people. So you can, not really feeling good about this decision, I'll tell Sally and I'll tell Fred and I'll see what they say. But when it comes to venting in our marriage, we have to be so super careful. We have to remember that if we're talking about our spouse, we also have a responsibility to protect that relationship. Well, my husband and I would have fights in the past, even now, right? When I was young, I would tell this friend and that friend and this friend, and that would make my husband angry. Now, there's a couple things in place here. So as an introvert, introverts think first and speak later, so they don't need to externalize their thoughts as much. They can parse them. But as an extrovert, but we extroverts need to externalize our thoughts. We need to speak them in order to understand what we're thinking. Well, this can be a problem if I need to talk it through, but my husband doesn't want to talk it through because he's an introvert. But I also want to talk it through to someone wise, but I also want to respect him. So what do? So one of the suggestions I give couples is that get your spouse's permission to talk to a specific person. So my husband, for instance, used to say, I don't want you telling anybody anything. But I'm like, well, if you aren't going to listen, then you better tell me who. I'm not paying for a counselor every 5 days. So we agreed that my mom and his mom were safe people for me to talk to. My husband has a great relationship with our moms. And he also knew that when I spoke to my mom or his mom, they would speak the truth. They would tell me if they agreed with me, and they would tell me if they disagreed with me. But I couldn't also go tell this friend and that friend and that friend, because then I'm breaking trust with my husband. So I would suggest that you come up with some kind of an arrangement like that. But then when you are choosing also a person to whom you should vent, I'm also going to give you suggestions that the person that you choose shouldn't be a yes man. It shouldn't be someone who you know is going to agree with what you say. Oh, I'm going to go tell so-and-so because she'll tell me it's okay to go eat this donut, right? Choose for yourself, as the Bible says, wise counsel. If you have a friend and you know this friend is known for being direct with you, you don't necessarily like it all the time, but you always appreciate it. And I've heard those people. It's like, oh, I'm going to tell Sally. Sally will always tell you what she's thinking. Those are the good friends. Not necessarily the ones that just tell you what they're thinking, but the ones that you know will speak truth. Because ultimately, if you're not going to get truth, you're going down the wrong path. And you're disappointing to God, and you're really not trying to resolve the problem. You're trying to protect yourself by saying, well, when I talked to Jim said it was okay. Venting. It's a necessary evil, but be very wise. For those of you in standers who are standing for marital reconciliation or who are having hard times in your marriage, I have let people in my group that are really struggling in their marriage, because in our group we talk about always answers that'll get us closer to our spouse no matter what. So The point of the standards group, for instance, we'll have a spouse that'll say, my spouse just sent me a nasty text and he said this, this, and this, and I'm so freaking mad at him or her. Now, you don't want to tell that to all your kids. You don't want to tell that to everybody. But what I say to my standards is, this group is safe. This is a safe place to vent. First of all, because it's confined. It will only stay in here. Everyone's in the same place. And we all know that we're directing you back to God and then back to your spouse. But we also acknowledge you need to let off that steam. So when people vent in my standards group, it's, man, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I know that hurt. Oh, that was really mean. But we will never, ever, ever say to a stander, oh, that was dumb. Oh my gosh, I can't believe he did that. What a jerk. Because see, therein, it has crossed a line into vilifying and demeaning and gossiping, and it's pointless. So that's it. It's very simple. When you vent, we all need to vent. When we vent, to whom do we vent? Is it someone who's going to tell us the truth or not? Second, is the person to whom we vent someone who is acceptable to your spouse? You may want to ask him. For those of you who are standing, I'm sure you're not going to get your spouse's permission if he or she's already divorced you or moved on, of course. But I just want you to know the difference. Because when you stand before God, you don't want to have God say, and when you gossiped and you told people about the time your husband did A, B, and C, you don't want to go, in shame, I'm so sorry, God, I shouldn't have told them. Because God knows the truth. You can lie to yourself, but God knows when you were saying it. Let me tell you about Sally. I'm only saying this because I need you to pray for her. No, you want people to know what Sally just did. Let me know your thoughts. I'm Dr. Christine Bacon, and I love that you watch this informational Bacon Bit. Go like and subscribe on all my channels. Remember always to live your life sunny side up.